Welcome to Power of X-Men, the podcast where we review every single issue of the revolutionary, groundbreaking, punk epic mutant masterpiece known as Morrison's New X-Men. I am the adjectiveless Flinkman.
And I'm the uncanny Dayspring.
I'm actually the new Flinkman. I can't believe I forgot that.
You're awful. How dare you not remember your name?
Listen, who am I anymore? You hit 40 years old. You become a different person. The new Flinkman is now back to the adjectiveless Flinkman. I don't know what to tell you.
What's old is new and what's new is old. I have to tell you, that is very true about your 40s. Time becomes very different in your 40s. And I like it so much more, but I don't remember anyone. Can I tell you a really funny story? I was at this local bar here and I was sitting editing the podcast. And someone sits next to me and they're like, you're the X-Men guy. And I was like, oh, you listen to the podcast? How funny. What a small world. You live in my neighborhood. And he was here like, no, we talked last time I came. And you were on your third glass of Cabernet and you were telling me about your podcast.
Oopsie. See, that's why I just don't talk to people. So then I don't have any awkward encounters later. So I just ignore everybody. And that seems to be working for me okay.
But it's that 40-year-old brain where you don't remember anything anymore. And you're just like, what? So I quite enjoy that.
It's like, do you not remember it or do you just not care to remember it at this point? It's like you've only got so much space.
But you know what? That's happening to me right now with a lot of X-Men knowledge. Whereas before it would roll off the tongue very easily. Yeah. It's getting harder. It's particularly getting harder with Marvel Legends history because we've been doing this since we were 18. I was 18. I was 17 going on 18 when I believe that first wave. No, I was actually a solid 18 when that came out. I just cannot remember like the entire history. Sometimes I have to go back and look up history. Shout out to Legends first because my memory is gone with some of the stuff.
So I could probably tell you all of the Toy Biz Legends, who was in what wave, what the BAFs were. But once we get past like Hasbro Wave 2, like I don't even know. The Blob Build-A-Figure. Once we get
it was Annihilus and then it was Blob.
Yeah, once we get past that, no, but I'd like to think, don't test me on this right now. Don't put me on the spot, but I'd like to think, given a minute to think about it, I could name all of the Toy Biz Legends in order. I think I could.
I think that's going to be our next episode, and I'm going to put that on trivia. No, I can't, because now you're going to be prepared for it. But
I think so. I really think so. I could probably struggle. No, I think I could do it.
I think I could, in broad strokes, do the Toy Biz waves. The Hasbro after Return of Marvel Legends, back in 2012.
Yeah,
that's where things get really murky with the waves and everything. I interject figures and characters that were there and not there. And it only came up recently because you couldn't make it to the episode on Sunday where we did the rumored leak list for Marvel Legends, and I tried to sound off some of the things in my head. And I was like, I don't remember. I have to fact check myself.
It's all right. You're still pretty.
Well, pretty-ish. That's because I do a lot of Botox. But wait, speaking of trivia, though, for next week.
We're not going to go a year without we're not going to go that long.
We've actually done
Don't scare the familia.
This is 9 episodes of New X-Men, though, sidebar. That's actually really good. And we've been doing this since February. So that's almost like every other week. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
It was a little front loaded, but we always say we're gonna try and do better, y'all.
It's fine. Listen,
life.
This is what happens when you're in your 40s. In your 40s, something you can look forward to. Married and you're in your 40s, there's always something broken. There's always something that you need to attend to. It's never end. Jeff is in New York, and I'm like, I have the entire apartment to myself down here in Miami. He's at our New York place, and I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy my time here. I can tell you 10 things that have gone wrong with the apartment since Jeff has been gone, and I'm like, I just want to relax and play with my Marvel Legends. No, it's not going to happen.
Never again.
Never again. Okay, well, so I have what you have to read for next week, and it's going to be, are you ready for it? I want to see if you can kind of guess it. No, I mean, it's like a needle in a haystack.
So, I'll never guess it.
Okay, it's Uncanny X-Men 152.
Okay, is that a what is that?
Yeah, yeah,
The
no,
body
you got
swap?
it's a body swap with
Okay,
Storm and Emma. I okay,
listen, look at you. I pulled that out of my ass. Like
I
talking
know.
about. So
Look
now do
at
you
them.
believe me that I can name all the legends?
Yeah, I did not believe you.
God, okay, fine. I'm just only doubt myself.
I just want to show it to the familia that you can do it. That's it. Um, yeah, I think that because obviously we read the Jean Grey and Emma Frost standalone, and that memory comes up with Storm. But I think it's a
Hmm.
good cultural sample because it shows where Emma was and where Emma has come in New X-Men, and also I really do with the podcast want to cover the crossover, the first official. Well, it's not the first official crossover, but when Emma and Storm meet in Extreme X-Men, and there is a lot of tension between them.
Oh yeah, I think if we're going to read the extreme, which of course we are, of course it has that ridiculous Emma cover that is almost so ridiculous I hate it, but at the same time it's amazing.
And they made a
If
gashapon about it. It's the
I have it
Salvador
on my
LaRocca.
desk.
Oh, you
I
do?
have it on my desk at work.
I don't know where I have her somewhere because she was part of a Phoenix and Ultimate Wolverine and
Yeah,
Cyclops. I have her
yeah.
somewhere.
I only have her. But no, if we're gonna read that, we are gonna read that, then we definitely have to read. This is a good choice. Look at you.
I know. I thought about it.
Any excuse for me to pull out like an old comic from the 1980s, because you know I have that. So I'm gonna like the smell, the ads. I
Oh
love
God, I
it. You
love
can't get that
that.
on Marvel Unlimited as I'm shaking my iPad.
No, you can't, unfortunately. But I think that's such a good, it's funny. The 80s, I have read this issue to be very clear, but I have my knowledge gaps in the 80s. That's where my X-Men
It's
knowledge I have gaps in. Like I can go up to the I can go up to the Dark Phoenix saga, and then I can pick up again around Extinction Agenda. That's sort of where everything else I have really bad pockets of gaps
I
in my
see.
history.
I'm like the opposite. I'm like I can do from 139 with the Cyclops cover with his back turned walking away
Yeah,
after Jean's funeral. From that until the end of the Outback era, I have
you're
that is
solid
the
on them.
X-Men that I'm solid in most of the 90s stuff. But I think I've reread the 80s stuff more than I have reread the 90s
Okay.
stuff, where I think the opposite is true
Yeah.
for you.
I reread the 90s. I've reread the 90s all the way through probably the Utopian era. That's sort of where I land when I'm like about to go to bed. I'll pick up the issues and I'll read through that. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
which,
within New X-Men through Utopia, I'm probably
oh, same.
I'm very well versed on.
I feel that like, and again, we can bring it back to New X-Men. I think New X-Men all the way through IVX, there is a huge story there. I think you can even up until Krakoa. How about that? I'll say up to Krakoa. You can see some consistencies like House of X, Powers of 10. I think so. We can get into it once we're done in the run. Oh, and Age of Revelations. I know you're not reading it, but issue 0 is completely inspired by Here Comes Tomorrow. It's a dystopian timeline with similar artistic beats to it. And or in it says, I can pinpoint the moment the universe went wrong. And it flashes back to Doug and Cyclops shaking hands. So
Huh?
completely, that is so Here Comes Tomorrow coded. And Jed McKay,
Yeah.
of course, has done so many homages to New X-Men.
Listen, I'm not opposed to reading new X-Men comics, but they have to be vetted at this point. I don't have Your boy didn't have a lot of time to read as many comics as he wants, so I can't devote all of the time in the world to reading like questionable completist style X-Men these days. But if you are telling me that this is good, I sort of if I either trust you or I'm gonna enjoy telling you you're wrong next week. I'll check it out.
How
I
do you
like Doug.
lose? How do you lose then?
It's a win-win.
It's
It's
a
a
win-win
win-win.
for you. You should be happy. No, I think oh God. Okay, this is where I'm gonna start. I'm like, well, maybe it's not that great. I don't.
Uh-oh.
I think within the context of modern comics, this is not like a Messiah complex, but it's pretty good. It's not a bad first issue. It's only issue 0. So, and you, by the way, you mentioned all these titles looked really interesting to you. All the new titles that are coming out, like Binary, I would assume.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, now see, I don't remember them, but because I didn't commit that to memory.
Gotcha.
No, but there was a bunch that looked really interesting. And it's like kind of sad that the like replacement books look so much more interesting than what is being published monthly. But I'm interested. Maybe I'll come prepared. Maybe I'll let you know what I think about Age of. I always love a good alternate universe, stop the X books for some nonsense kind of crossover action. So I'll see. We'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
So you got a lot of reading to do next week, Lucy.
Jesus Christ. What have I signed myself up for?
Okay, well, this week, though, we are reading New X-Men issue 123 by Grant Morrison, and an artist has returned,
Returning artist.
returning artist. And wait, do you remember what 123 means in beeper code?
Oh my God. Well, I had one of those translucent red beepers
I,
because
I had the blue.
translucent was everything.
Oh no, I had the green one. I forgot. I had two beepers. One of them was a translucent. I think it was a green one.
Oh.
But anyways, one,
Okay.
two,
Oh,
three means
you didn't have two
no.
different
I don't.
beepers. You
No,
weren't okay.
I was like
For your
12
side piece. Well,
for
listen,
my side
listen.
piece, for my xy.com side
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah. I never know. I never know with you.
It means I miss you. I remember that. I
Oh,
miss you. And like we've missed Morrison in these last few weeks.
we have. I was really excited to get back to it, and what an issue to get back with.
That opening splash with Angel sitting on the tree trunk and wait, is it Emma who says it? It's Jean or Emma who
Oh
says this?
no, no, this is Emma. Read
Okay,
the
sorry.
word balloon.
Okay, sorry. I'm like, wait, who says it? Okay. Emma says, I'm a patient woman, but sometimes I wish all children had a single neck and I was knotting a rope around it. Oh, Emma, but this comic book is rated PG. That would not fly in today's world.
No, no. And I honestly, this entire exchange between Emma and Jean on the next page, well, starting there, starting on the splash page one, but this is literally this opening scene sums up like what I love about the Emma and Jean dynamic and why Morrison is the best writer that has ever tackled it. And for all that we joke that I'm the Jean and you're the Emma. In this I'm 100% Emma because I think you tolerate children better than I do. So in this I am Emma.
Yeah, I this is a good example of where Gene and Emma are working together. There's no hint of a rivalry here. There's no tension between them. Gene has to be giving a speech to the media, and Emma is talking to her about it. And we're also getting like a plot dump here. We're just being caught up on everything that's happening, that there is a space threat coming, that Charles has dementia and his consciousness is just, disintegrating, and that he keeps calling her Gus, which we will find out who Gus is later. And Gina's like, I don't know how to talk to the media. And Emma, in probably the cuntiest line ever, says, they love jokes, dear. How about telling them we just found out all of humanity's doomed within 5 generations?
I actually think the opening there what Gene follows up with from the splash page, the first ones, where Gene says, Emma, I think this year's students are a terrific bunch. And then Emma responds with, well, that's very civil of you, Gene. Only you would use the words terrific bunch to dignify this horde of ghastly illiterates. Like this interaction between them and Emma specifically, it is just because, of course, Jean would say terrific bunch, and of course, Emma would roast her for it. And this, forget the love triangle, forget the Dark Phoenix saga. This is the perfect Emma Jean dynamic, all summed up on one page that is, like you said, essentially a plot dump.
Okay, wait, let me piggyback off of what you just said there too, because after she says ghastly illiterates, she goes, anyways, how is Charles today? The last time I looked in, he was drooling his way into the record books.
I mean, it, it keeps going. I mean, Jean says his entire being is disintegrating into confetti, and Emma's response is, I felt like that every day during my lost years. Like, Gold. It's a gold mine for the Emma and Jean dynamic on this page.
And this is very Claremontian because Jean is saying that Charles is calling her Moira, and Emma's referencing her years in the Hellfire Club or whenever she was not with the X-Men. It's just, it's gold. History is respected here, and it's spun in a very modern conversation between Jean and Emma. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And it should also be noted that Emma has a band-aid on her nose following what happened with the
Yes.
U-Men and Sublime.
And I just feel like those are the kinds of, well, I think she actually is asked about it later. So it is worked into the plot, but I still feel like those are the kinds of little details that don't occur to writers to mention in their scripts and editorial doesn't remember. So like even like something small like that, it's just a nice little note to people who have been reading, like, hey, these things happened and they matter.
Although Emma waited that long to get her nose fixed, and her nose looked fine in the previous issues, though.
Well,
That's
fair,
always thrown me
fair.
off, but that's fine. Listen, she was telepathically making the reader see her nose as fine when she was secretly getting cosmetic surgery.
See, you got it. You answered your own question.
Okay, so the next page, I thought of you because obviously we have the cuckoos. And is this the first time, with the exception of the previous issue, this is the first time all five of them are shown to be the same age and they're all identical copies of each other?
Yes, yes. And this is actually the first time reading it this time that I noticed that they're wearing like student versions of Emma's coat. They're
Yeah.
not just wearing like Xavier Institute coats, they're like mini Emma coats. I love it. It's
Well, this is, we've discussed this already before, but Emma and the Stepford Cuckoos is a direct homage to Miss Jean Brodie and the Brodie set, which was a group of students who followed their teacher, Jean Brodie. And Jean Brodie is known to have said, I am in my prime and I only like to teach la creme de la creme. So this entire issue, they've really amped up the Jean Brodie um, allegories here. And of course, Jean Brodie gets metaphorically assassinated by her students. So that is a plot that, we will see later down the line with Emma.
But what is happening here is that Esme is in the Rose Garden getting smoochy with a new student while the other four cuckoos are talking shit about it to Emma, basically. We get another really great Emma scene. But before we get to that, what the fuck is going on with Esme's face here? Like, I know she's smitten, but that is a scary, scary face.
I thought, because it's mentioned later in the issue, that Esme was probably investigating something, and that's why she had kind of like parted from the other four. But I don't think there's any evidence of that, especially later on. She's just like, what? What's happening? So we can chop this up to bad art and just
Yeah,
like her face, because her face looks very like, she doesn't look like she's being seductive. She looks like she's being mischievous. And I don't know
right.
if that's the way it's and she's looking at the cuckoos as she kisses the boy. And of
Right.
course
She's
that's,
spitefully looking at them.
yeah, and then she's like, she's kissing him now. That's practically makes her a slut. I love the cuckoos here.
Really, girls, who is this boy?
I
Like,
know. Is he
I
some
literally
fresh
just want to
addition?
read.
I know. We need to do, there's someone on YouTube, by the way, who's dubbed or just voiced all of Morrison's new X-Men. And it's just his
Really?
voice. Yeah, it's just his voice. But I wanted to see how he did the Emma parts, and it's fun. It is. But this issue, you need to read every word, Familia. We cannot do it justice by just talking about it. But apparently, he is a mutant from Japan, and he has 3D recall, whatever that means.
I mean, and then Emma talks to them, about the first blush of young love and how it can feel like the invasion of the dignity snatchers. So maybe that's the face Esme was making on the prior page. But then you actually kind of called it out earlier. He Morrison is they're being a little Claremonty here. Like there's a lot of info dumping of what, recapping the story through dialogue, and now we're getting the cuckoos straightforward out of nowhere explaining to Emma, who of course already knows their powers and what they do, that combined we're a single brilliant super mind. Without Esme, we're just four smart blondes. And like that is classic Claremont telling, using dialogue to tell you all the things you need to know, maybe not in the most elegant way, but I certainly am a fan of that sort of writing.
Yeah, and just to unpack the cuckoos really quickly here, I think this is our first little hint that something's up with Esme because one of them says it's not like her to do this. So
Right.
now we know that Esme is breaking off from the pack, and that is something we'll put a pin in that, dear Familia, as we go through it. But the other thing I wanted to note, because it's not going to ever get resolved in this run, Morrison had a little Easter egg with the cuckoos, of which their names, the first letter of their names, spell out spice. Like as a
Like the
homage to
Spice
the girls. Yeah,
Girls.
homage to it was directly written for you.
It was. Emma
They
Frost little
knew.
girlies.
Morrison knew that you would be watching this or reading
Does
this
that
and
make
recapping.
does that make Esme Ginger Spice? Because she's like breaking apart.
Oh my God. Okay, Esme is totally ginger spice coated. Yes. And by the way, because this would be when did she leave? 98, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
98.
90.
May 31st, 1998. I can literally probably still quote like her solicitor's like statement to trauma.
Wow. Oh,
Anyways.
so yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's exactly that. But just for the family who doesn't know, S being Sophie, P being Phoebe, I being Irma, C being Celeste, and E being Esme spells out spice. I'm like, did I spell that correctly?
And yeah, you did. And of course,
Yeah.
famously, I believe it was Chuck Austin later ruined it by
Oh,
we didn't get Irma is never established here. And in
yeah.
Chuck Austin, I think it's Chuck Austin was the first to call her Mindy.
Mindy.
And I don't remember who corrected it, but somebody corrected it and said, "Oh, I just go by Mindy. My name is really Irma." So we got
Yeah.
our spice.
I want to say that also was like it first appeared in like one of the name bubbles in during the Utopian era where they're like Mindy, aka Irma, something like that.
Am I about to have to give Matt Fraction props? I think it was Matt
Yeah,
Fraction
it was Matt
that
Fraction.
corrected it.
Yeah.
That's an era that I need to revisit because I talked so much shit about
Same.
Matt Fraction at the time. And like thinking about it now compared to like the more recent X stuff I've read, I'm such a hater. Sorry to fans of the current X books that Flink is always here to bring you down. But like with that lens, looking back on like Matt Fraction, I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad.
The one thing I would say about the Utopian era, the heroic age, I wish and I think I said this either to you or somewhere else. I wish I would have just had fun reading it.
Yes.
Again, we hold these comics to a different standard. That was a fun era. There are some obvious problems. So it is not without its flaws. We weren't wrong, but knowing what we got later down the line, like, yeah, I can look back on this and be like, not too bad.
I feel like the thing that really that now that I've had like what like 15 years away from it, oh God, I can sort of realize that maybe the reason that I was so upset is they kept telling me, oh yeah, Dazzler's a part of this cast. Oh yeah, you're gonna get the biggest Dazzler moment of her entire superhero career, and
Yeah,
like, but it just
yeah.
like edged me
Hell
constantly.
yeah. Sorry.
Oh my
Like,
God,
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They edged Gene fans constantly because it
that's
was
true. You
post
steal my
Messiah
pain.
Complex, and we all thought it was. And they even when Kitty Pryde was being brought back, even during the Sisterhood arc, there was always a tease of Gene's return, and it was. Anyways, it's fine.
Anyways, back
Anyways,
to the issue at
okay.
hand. The last
This
thing
issue.
I Yes, yes. The last thing I want to say about this scene with Emma and the cuckoos is like again, this is how Emma should be written. This is a really great combination of like genuine caring and life lessons mixed with like her snark. And you know, maybe that's a problem I had with the Matt Fraction run is I don't think Emma was a well balanced
Yeah.
character like she is here. So kudos to Morrison. They just write the best Emma of all time. Scott Lobdell, Kieran Gillen, they did a great job. They're probably Claremont, of course.
Hickman. I
But
think Hickman did a good Emma as well.
I don't think he used her enough. He
No.
positioned her. Well, see, that's my complaint with Hickman is that he positioned characters very well, but the actual stories with those characters, the follow through was not always great.
Yeah. And I do hold Hickman accountable for the faults of the Krakoan era because he was head of X. Anyways,
Yeah, yeah,
another podcast, another day. But okay, here's another thing I wanted to bring up though, because the next page we go back to Angel, who's sitting up there and on the tree, and she's here like, "This place sucks. I hate those kids." And Wolverine's there, and he's here like, "Listen, when you're someone like me who's always on the run, this ain't so bad." And she's like, "What are you talking about? You're leaving." And again, I can't help but wonder, Carrie Bradshaw style, were they setting up Angel and Wolverine to have that mentorship even up onto this is the last time we're going to see a mentorship ish scene between them. But even so, here it looks like this is very much Wolverine about to take on a new sidekick.
yeah. I completely agree with that. It's very much reads to this point like Angel is going to be another Kitty Pryde or Jubilee, but and it's a great dynamic. It's a great dynamic, but yeah, unfortunately, spoiler alert, it does not. It does not continue.
Yeah, that's it. They're never, I mean, I could be wrong, but in terms of major moments, this is their last major moment together.
Wah, wah.
Womp womp.
But then Emma comes and inserts herself into this conversation. Uh, and Angel says, "Up yours, lady," gets it started off on the wrong foot. Logan warns her that she's not going to get your humor, but she goes on. They continue. They get into it a little bit. Wolverine is like, Emma is complaining to Wolverine about what's going on, with the cuckoos. He asks, "How good are your girls, anyways?" This is where she says they're the creme de la creme of the telepathy class. And then, Logan says they're five teenage girls with hormones, like the 4th of July Emma. One of them got lucky in the moonlight with some kid from Osaka. The others got jealous and twitchy. And Angel, of course, then inserts herself in that. Read the Ice Queen for rights, Wolverine. They have a little exchange, and Emma says, "I'll take you in hand." Angel's like, "You tried, I'll cut it off." And Emma says, "Challenge accepted." And I feel like, sort of circling back to what you were saying, I think Morrison had more planned for Angel than what we got. I think Angel was truncated by Morrison ending their run a little early, because I feel like there's more behind this. I feel like they're setting up more with Angel and Wolverine. Angel, we never really follow up on this challenge accepted, so we don't get a whole lot, unless I'm mistaken. I don't think we get a whole lot more of Angel and Emma or Angel and Wolverine. It feels like we're starting to set something up that doesn't come to fruition.
We get an epic scene later on with Emma taking Angel shopping on Fifth Avenue. But that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
How could I forget
because
that?
because it's after her creme de la creme leave her and she needs a new project. Let Emma be your guide. And it's really cute, but it's a very different dynamic. But I agree with you. I think one of the things here that's really interesting, again, to reiterate this point, is that Morrison, they were planting some seeds here with Angel. And it's weird. It's a hard stop where Angel will service a plot a little further down in this run, and we'll discuss it when we get there. But that's it. This is it. This is as good as it gets for Angel, sadly. And she will be part of Zorn's special class, I believe. So we'll take a little
Yeah.
look out there for her. But one of the things, so that we did not bring up though in these opening pages is that Jean mentions she has the flu, and the entire institute is sick with a mysterious flu.
Yes. And I think they hinted at that. Beast was complaining about that in the last issue as
Hmm.
well, I believe. So the flu is still going around, highly contagious, apparently. It's a, you'll see why shortly.
So Beast says, "Ladies and gentlemen of the media, welcome to the Xavier Institute of Higher Learning. You can get set up right through here." And we get a scene with Gene talking to Xavier. He's in that again. This bugs me so much that he's in like the psychic, bug-like exoskeleton, and Jean is talking to him, and we find out that Gus was his childhood dog, and she goes, "Yes, Gus was a good dog," and she's basically thanking Charles for everything that he's done because the institute is now open, and this is a herald for mutants and humans coexisting. And Jean walks away, and we get a scene with some kind of like psychic residue forming on Cerebra.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't quite know what that was. Is that Cassandra Nova? Is that them
I
being
mean,
canned. I wasn't sure about that plot beat.
it kind of looks like Cassandra Nova's, how do you say it? Mumadrai?
Oh yeah,
Mumundrai?
I don't know
I
how to
don't know
say
how to
it.
say it.
We'll look
Sorry,
it up.
everyone.
I
It
say
kind of looks a
Mamandri, I
little bit,
believe. I don't know. Sorry, go.
who knows? It kind of looks like that sort of energy that we'll see in the next issue, but I could be wrong. That's kind of what I got from it. And I'm not sure I've ever noticed that before. You kind of catch something new every time. I mean,
Well,
maybe it's just like a
well, look.
psychic gleam indicating his consciousness is returning.
Oh, that's a really good point. But wait, look at it how it plays out when you do the guided view. See, Jean goes away, and then it comes up. It's almost animated the way it comes up.
Ah,
You can't see it.
yeah.
Yeah. But it comes, it was, so that's the only reason why I truly noticed it this time around. But yeah, I think it could also be that his psychicness, his psychic energy, he's clinging on there. Like he's making
He's not
plans.
as gone as she thinks.
Yeah. And obviously that's going to be a plot point later on. But yeah.
I
So,
my
go,
question
go, go.
about this page is where was Gus on Krakoa? Why didn't Xavier resurrect his dog? Obviously,
I,
you can't resurrect a dog, but Gus
uh,
was a good dog, wasn't he?
she also mentions, and this was I was like, Gene, this is TMI, where you're like, I'm so nervous. I've been to the bathroom 15 times this morning. I was like,
She
Gene,
can face
really?
down. She can face down all manner of threats, cosmic or otherwise. But human journalists, I mean, she's literally on the verge of pissing herself. She
I
really needs
like.
to get it together.
I'm like, Gene feels a little too nervous, especially given the last few issues where the Phoenix burns away insecurities and what doesn't work, and she feels so great. But I guess this is showing that Jean still has some humanity left in her. But I was like, Jean, man, just be a boss bitch. Come on.
Well, I mean, as she's leaving, it should be noted that she puts on her long trench coat, which is literally her best costume.
Mm-hmm.
So she's ready. She put on her boss bitch coat and she's ready to do what she's got to do.
Okay, so I found the next page profoundly disturbing, and we're going to talk about this right now because Jean goes up, Hank introduces her, and Jean takes the stage for the media, and she gives like a quick, really big rundown about Xavier and their founder. And she was here like, 30 years ago when Xavier was 11, his psychic powers awakened and it opened up a door, and that's why we're all here today. Do you know, if you do the math, he was 11 and was 30 years ago? Xavier is now currently 41. In New X-Men, he's 41.
That's how old you are, baby.
Oh, you're not too far behind, bitch.
I,
Yes, but that's exactly it. Xavier is my age.
what the fuck?
I'm not
Okay,
reading that
that's
wrong, right? That is something where because Morrison, and by the way, I always read when Emma says, "I'm only 27 years old, you ungrateful wretches." I always read that as her being sarcastic. Like I would say, "I'm only 27 years old, but I'm really 41." But right here, Jean says it. She goes, Charles Xavier discovered he was X gene positive one day at the end of August. 30 years ago, after a long, strange summer, which ended when the thoughts of the world came crashing into his head all at once. He was only 11 years old when he saw through all the lies we tell ourselves.
oh my God.
He's
Okay.
41. Xavier
He's
is 41.
41.
Cassandra
Oh my
Nova is
God.
41.
Oh my
Cassandra Nova. And
God.
they're calling her old and everything.
Is that what Frank Whiteley would draw us looking like?
Oh my God, we're Xavier Cassandra
Oh
Nova. I am shook to my core I was furious when I read this. I think I
no. I
actually
am
like,
so mad at you right now.
I know you're welcome, but okay, I think this is such a big misstep with Morrison. First of all, it doesn't really align with, meeting Eric and everything. But also, I think canonically, like putting our age aside, real world age aside, I would put Xavier in mid 50s to early 60s. I would put him in that bracket with the other X-Men, like the senior most X, like the original five, in their late 20s, early 30s. That's how I would. That is where my headcanon is. Maybe
Yeah.
on the cusp of mid 30s at most. Again, he could be 60 and they can be in their mid 30s, but 41, absolutely. That's Tony Stark's age.
This is too much. You have. you can't do this. You can't poke holes in Morrison because now I'm feeling some kind of way.
I'm not poking any holes. Morrison deliberately put that there.
Jesus Christ.
I think it
I don't
was
like
just
it.
again, it's repositioning, it's a reboot. I don't like it. I like the sliding timeline, and I know that's so weird to like think about it, but it's just odd that Morrison had conceived Xavier as someone in the early 40s. And here I am trying to figure out what's wrong with my AC unit, and all I had to do was change a filter. You know what I mean? Like, and here's Xavier, 41, with an institute and a world renowned figure. So I don't know. It's just weird. It's
Well, and
weird.
his body has already been rebuilt younger as well. So like
Yeah,
if he was
yeah,
41, if he was 41 when, his that means he was like in his what, late 30s during the Dark Phoenix saga and his body was or the Brood saga and his
yeah.
body was destroyed and they had to build him a new one. So how old is his new body supposed to be? What is Charles Xavier's physical condition now? Is he like 25?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm okay
Well, that
post Krakoa. I'm fine with all of them wanting to look like in their 20s and 30s because of the resurrection protocols.
yeah,
But I think generally the vibe I get, and people will argue to a year, but I think in a broad stroke, most people see the Marvel universe as being within the 10 to 15 years,
right.
have happened. That would mean Xavier was like 31 when, if we're believed 10 years, he was like 31 when he founded the X-Men.
Oh God.
When the Fantastic Four went into space, he was 31, which, by the way, Reed and Sue would be older because I don't know if they send like late 20s, space astronauts. I don't know, whatever. It's a fantastical world. But I
Jesus
think he would be
Christ.
younger. I think there could be a case made that he's younger than Sue Storm. By this
I'm not.
logic, by this logic, by this
How
logic.
dare you say this to me when I'm wearing my Sue Storm shirt? That
I
is
can't.
slander.
Oh my God. By the way, sidebar, Vanessa Kirby was so good in the movie.
Everything. The movie was so good. I know it wasn't your thing. We're
I
not
didn't
gonna.
like
Oh,
it. We won't. Another
I
episode.
don't want to hear about it. Basically, is
No.
what I'm trying to
But
tell
I
you.
can't tell you, but Vanessa Kirby was flawless. Vanessa Kirby was
Flawless.
flawless. Flawless. Flawless. Okay. So Xavier's 41.
Xavier's 41, and we're all decrepit and dying.
And Jean is holding the media conference, and she invited everyone into their psychic room where they have been meeting. Now, I was confused by this because we're seeing this being broadcast live, as we see in a couple pages with Wolverine, but so like they're in Jean's head, but are the cameras still rolling? Are we just seeing people in real time drooling themselves? I'm curious as to like what's going on here.
Well, it does flash like in the center panel there. It shows what's happening
Oh, in the real time,
through
yeah.
in the real time. So I think it's I don't know how, but I
Mhm.
think it's both. Like she's clearly still speaking. Those word balloons aren't telepathic. So those I think there's actual dialogue still happening, I
Yeah,
think.
so she's speaking about the Xavier School, that they're here to teach new mutants. And she goes on to say that the X-Men are a group of volunteers, herself included, that they are elected to monitor and resolve mutant emergencies and situations. And they're here to protect the peace everywhere. And it's that simple. And while this is happening, Esme's boyfriend starts speaking, I guess, Shi'ar language, and Esme takes note of it.
Yeah, I think so the seeing through the wall and seeing what's happening in real time, I believe is Esme's little boy toy
Oh, you're right.
looking like using X-ray vision to look through the wall, and then yeah, he reports in an alien language to an unknown person. And yeah, I mean, I we assume that's Esme. I mean, it makes the most sense for it to be Esme of all the cuckoos.
Well,
Um,
you would think that the Shi'ar would have some kind of publicist be like, okay, well, we can't attack Earth with all the cameras rolling because this is the early odds. So it's not like anyone's going to take a video on their phone and post it on the internet. But like, you would think that they'd be like, okay, I guess they're distracted. That's what that's the name of the character, Stuff is doing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, and the Shi'ar Empire is currently being controlled by Cassandra Nova, who doesn't give a fuck about your PR.
We're going to get to those pages when we get there because I have some questions and I think you will have the answers for it. But Yeah, so then we have a journalist who says, if you want the truth, it's that people hate mutants because trouble follows you everywhere you go. And she also says, you run around fighting like Greek gods, and then she looks at Hank and says, and monsters.
And Emma does not take kindly to anybody talking about her BFF, Hank McCoy, and grows to Galactus size and starts yelling at this woman. I beg your pardon. This man is a world renowned scientist, and you, madam, are a witless bigot with brightly glowing masochistic tendencies. Which, amazing.
No, the most amazing part is a follow up. A couple panels later, she goes, well, how dare she, monster? She practically has a beard. Oh, oh, oh my God. Emma is the MVP of this issue. MVP of this issue. And yeah, she grows big because she's psychically, they're all in there and they're psychically. Now, I have a question though. I didn't know that Emma and Beast were this tight up until now. And I think that's Morrison playing with dynamics. But for the reader who hasn't read this, think Ian McKellen and Rebecca Romaine, then Stamos, laughing
Yes.
at Rogue, being like, we simply love what you've done with your hair. That is the energy that Beast and Emma have throughout this run, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's been alluded to before this issue. This isn't the first time that they have been like. I think when he was examining her diamond form, they had like a pretty cute exchange. So this has sort of been building, and yeah, I really love. Again, we've said it before. New X-Men Beast is the best comic book Beast that has ever existed, ever, like in any
Agreed.
run ever. And I love he's a very likable character. He's got a very tongue in cheek. Your Ian McKellen reference there is absolutely perfect. And it's such a shame that I think they kind of had this still in Astonishing, this sort of dynamic. But after that, kind of it's kind of a shame. It's kind of been completely forgotten.
I think they have like there is I think what Emma appreciates smart people and people who aren't going to outstage her. I think she likes that combo. And that's why a character like Beast she would gravitate towards. But they definitely do have that like gay and GBF like vibe going on there. But Jean says, Emma, now I'm going to have to erase the last 30 seconds from all these people's mind. And that's exactly what she does. And Beast is like, listen, my mind is focused elsewhere. I have to get out of here because I can't concentrate enough to remain in the psychic room. I've just discovered something in the lab.
Yeah, and as you know, juxtaposed again, so the next page is panels, nice thin vertical panels alternating between Jean giving her speech and Beast discovering under the microscope that it isn't the flu they have, it's 10,000 times worse. It is, and he gives us, Beast does not curse. He is a smart, intelligent man. But this page ends with Beast saying, oh, my stars and fucking garters, because it is not a virus in their blood. It is sentinels, microscopic viral sentinels inside the bloodstream.
Oh, okay. One thing I just want to point out, and I'm sorry, that's because there's so much to unpack here. I'm really bothered by Jean and how she's drawn in the second panel of her. Why is her, again, with her red fingernail, why is her finger over her lip like this?
She
She's
looks like
talking.
she's doing cocaine.
Yeah, she's talking like what is she doing? I don't understand. What is this move? She's talking to the media.
Oh, oh, because she says it's because of the flu. She's wiping her nose
Oh,
because
she's
she's got the
wiping her
flu.
nose.
Okay, so
Oh,
I wasn't far
brilliant.
off with
Oh, okay.
cocaine.
I wasn't. This is nano. Oh, you're right. She's. Oh, but still, like wiping your nose in front of the media. Though, Gene,
Right. Gene, come on.
Gene,
Where's her
girl. Yeah,
publicist?
where's your publicist, Gene? Where's the Xavier Institute publicist? Emma would never do that.
Never. But I do. Okay. So I just have to say that the next time someone comes at us in the comments saying nonsense like Morrison had no original ideas, I'm just going to respond with, yes, because the Sentinels being deployed as a virus has just been done to death before this. And just in general, like the way that Morrison has updated the Sentinels for this run, like first with the wild sentinels committing genocide, and now we have microscopic sentinels infecting, mutants at a cellular and genetic level. Like the Sentinels have just been big, bad robots that the X-Men could team up, the quick little team up, a fastball special, you can take down the big bad robot. Morrison has invented them and reinvented them in new and very terrifying ways. I, I
And it's
just,
right there in the first page. The first
yeah,
page of New X-Men where Wolverine and Cyclops just easily take down this dumb
yep,
robotic Sentinel. And by the way, dumb and robotic Sentinel will come to play later on in Here Comes Tomorrow, which we'll chat about. But this is not your grandpa's Sentinel. This is a really threat. Like the X-Men have kicked it up with secondary mutation. So have the Sentinels and machines in general, which we will see once we get to Phantom X. But one of the things that I think also about these pages that I felt it this time, and I don't think I felt it in my initial run. Gene is talking about how they've built sort of this paradise where mutants can come and they're using their powers for more than just fighting robots. We have a autistic savant who is able to talk to atoms in their own language. Um, she references what happened in Genosha, 16 million mutants. That could have been the next Einstein. That could have been the next Kurt Cobain. So much of mutant culture is happening, and that is their job. They see themselves as shepherds for the next generation, making them sure that they reach their full potential. And we're on the cusp of that because the media is playing ball with them, and everyone's being inspired. And, well, shit happens with Cassandra Nova.
yeah, right, right. Shit is about to go down, but it's a good speech. I mean, listen, I got to give Jean credit when I got to give Jean credit that she really sells it here. And in fact, later the one of the journalists even says that, I can't speak for everyone, but this sure as hell looks like some kind of utopia to me. So the Xavier Institute has come a long way, and the way humans are listening and responding to it is evolving. I mean, the theme of this run is evolution, and we can't just continue to have, much like we can't just have the big dumb sentinels over and over and over. Every human can't be Gyrant. You know what I mean? We have to have be shown actively. We have to have a Stevie Hunter every now and then. We have to have humans aligning themselves with the X-Men, understanding what they're going to do. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And,
With the
and
X-Men evolving as much as they are, the humans have to as well.
And Morrison has such a good understanding of what acceptance and equality realistically looks like because that scene with the journalist, he says, I can't speak for all humans just like you can't speak for all mutants, but what you have here is a utopia. And then Gene says, well, then, why don't a few of us start talking first and that'll be a start?
And
It's
even Emma
beautiful.
looks impressed.
Yeah, even Emma's like, not bad for a bitch with no talent. That's Emma's face, not bad for a bitch with no talent. But yeah, it's just, and by the way, I think the artist did switch for these pages because
Yes.
there's another artist that's credited, and that artist is, because I want to give them it's Tom Derenick. I want to give them their props there. He stepped in for a few pages because the other artist just couldn't deliver those. So yeah,
Well,
it's beautiful.
but before we shift away from completely from Jean giving her speech, is there a little detail in the art that you think might be worth noting?
I didn't know what to make of this. So Gene is speaking, Wolverine is seeing it, little kids are seeing it, families are seeing it, and then Gene says, all of us humans and mutants have to spend the rest of our lives in the future. Let's get together and make it a nice place to live. And as she says that, there is Phoenix Fire on her head.
I
Bold.
think it's just she is conquering her fears of talking. She was scared the entire issue. She gives one hell of a speech, and by the end of it, the phoenix is flowing through her. She's continuing her ascension into becoming the white phoenix. And whether it makes sense, for her to do that on global international live television, maybe not the smartest thing, but for what we know is happening to the character here, I love that she, after confidently delivering this speech, gets a little flamey. It's nice to me.
Yeah. And she is in this, they are recording her in the actual press room, not the psychic room. And yeah, I listen, I'm glad she's doing that, but like, girl, you're picking your nose on live TV. Like Jean and her nose picking in New X-Men. I just can't. I hate her with a red manicure. Anyways, um, yeah, so it's so hopeful and it's beautiful. And then what happens?
So, we get the press conference stuff sort of closes with this nice shot of students midair playing, some version of pickleball, I guess, predicting the future. And as Jean is walking through the gardens, we come back to Esme, and Cato is his name, and she asks who he is talking to. Is there something I should know? And he looks straight at her and says, "Hi, oh, I may as well tell you, Esme, it doesn't matter now that you're going to die." And we now know that he is being extra, extra shady. And what happens to Jean once this revelation
Okay, but this
is
is the
is upon
best ever.
us?
Jean faints. And Emma says, Jean. And then she looks at the media and says, Don't worry. She always does this sort of thing for dramatic effect. Direct reference to X-Men the Animated Series.
I mean, I was gonna say Emma obviously has watched, X-Men the animated series. Like she knows what's up. I love it. I love it.
And,
Uh,
what happened here was that Jean felt that they were being scanned by the Shi'ar, and she's screaming that Scott's in danger.
well, they're not just in danger, from the Sentinels in their blood. Yeah, the she. Oh no, sorry, got it backwards. They're not just in danger from the Shi'ar because the page ends with Hank running out and screaming in front of the press. Where are these people's media training? Like, my God, Hank, you dated Trish Tilby. You should know better. But anyway, live or I guess they're not live anymore, but in front of journalists who are obviously going to report on this, he runs out screaming, "Gene, they're nano sentinels."
Is
So we got a double whammy happening here.
Is Trish not here? Does she come in? She comes in later in this run, though.
She
It was
does.
she not
Open
invited to
day.
this media event?
No, she
Oops.
wasn't.
Sorry, Trish.
Sorry,
Sucks to be Trish.
Trish.
Guess you're not that good. Who would Trish Tilby be? She's not a Savannah Guthrie. Who would she? She's like your local like news anchor, right?
I mean, she's Diane Sawyer, who everybody liked at the time, but now looking back, she was very anti-woman and cunty.
I'm trying to think like, oh, who was that? There was a CNN anchor who was like mid, and I used to see her all the time at Columbus Circle. Her name was like something Brown, and she was on CNN. That's how I always envision like Trish to be. Just kind of like neither here, not a groundbreaking journalist, but like good enough.
She's on your weekend broadcast.
Yeah, like she certainly has a podcast now and like a show that she would be like, she's not pulling big numbers on her podcast, but people are tuning in for her. Is
Good,
where I would
good for
put her.
Trish.
Good for
Good for
Trish.
Trish.
Okay, so yeah, so then we cut over to Cyclops and Zorn, and they're being abducted by the Shi'ar, and then we cut to the Shi'ar getting ready to invade Earth, and I believe this character's name is Ark. I believe so. I read that on UncannyXmen.net, but Ark is talking to Gladiator, and they're talking about how the X-Men were once friends, but even species like the X-Men can turn toxic, and they know that the X-Men are infected with the Nano Sentinels because Lalandra had already given the heads up that that was happening.
So it's all coming to a head. Cassandra Nova's plan is coming together, pulling those threads together. And these are not the Shi'ar Imperial Guard we are used to. We don't know these people.
But I'm confused by it. So I guess it's not Cassandra Nova. I have to, maybe this will be answered in the next coming issues, but Cassandra Nova isn't controlling Lalandra and the Shi'ar Guard, is she? Like
Yeah,
they're upset. Really, she is? Okay.
I think so. I don't know. I
Because
don't,
in the previous issue,
yes?
Lalandra was not. She was not being possessed or mind controlled. I mean, it's possible that she is now. We'll figure it. We'll see. The answer is the next issue will give us all those answers. But I can't remember because oh no, that happens later on. I was thinking of the scene where Lalandra's like, "Look what you have done," and that's later on. Okay, so regardless, the Shi'ar and the Shi'ar Empire are getting ready to attack the X-Men.
My read on this is that she has always been under Cassandra Nova's control. And I could be wrong, but that
No,
is the
because in
read.
the previous one, in previous issue, they try to warn that she's coming. So now they will be under her control because in that time period, she has taken over the entire empire.
Okay. We figured this out.
Okay, we'll figure it in the next issue too as well. But the best part is Esme's boyfriend then turns into Stuff, and as Stuff jumps through the air and Gladiator arrives saying destroy all mutants, Emma grabs the cuckoos and says, "Try not to let this experience put you off, boys, Esme." And the issue ends.
I mean, she is just non-stop with the lines. Emma is on fire in this issue. Even though Jean is the one that's literally on fire and giving the big speech, Emma steals the show here.
There's this issue is a love letter to Emma Grace Frost and is a must read. I think this is the most perfect Emma has been written.
Yeah.
We'll go up until our read here. I'll say that about future issues, I'm sure. But I thought Emma just was a standout star here. She was so much fun. This is what I wanted from the Jean Grey and Emma Frost one shot.
Yes.
That's why the stakes were so high. So to silence them was just after 13 years of them not appearing together in comics, said it was absurd, absurd.
I agree. I agree. It was disappointing. It was beautiful, but the story, it was a waste. It was a throwaway.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this issue?
I mean, A plus 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 for Emma Grace Frost. She high marks, high marks.
Yeah,
And overall, everything about it is it, it's incredible. I can't even think of the words to summarize how I feel about this issue.
I listen, I agree with you. I think if you're going to be reading Morrison, this is one of the issues that you're like, damn, this is like shit has gone in real here. There's no holding back. The X-Men are ready. Um, the X-Men are ready are to go into a fight for their lives, and this is everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Now, the only thing, this is like an ongoing thing I have with the X-Men. I don't know if it's in canon or this is where we think like maybe the writers like I like the X-Men aren't strategists, which is like they
No.
know that a space invasion is coming, and yet they still have a media conference. And I think last issue they kind of said like, oh, it may be happening, may not be happening, but here they're fully aware that a space invasion is coming.
Yeah, I now that you've pointed that out so clearly, I'm like, why the fuck are they doing this? The whole premise of this issue doesn't make sense.
I guess they're probably in like a nut, like they're stuck because Cassandra Nova outed them, and now the whole world wants to know about what's going on here, and so they have to talk to the press. They have
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
and it was Xavier's idea to turn that weakness into a strength, and that's what Jean and the rest of the team are honoring here.
So how many minutes of like peace and feeling good about themselves did the X-Men get here between Jean's speech and the Shi'ar landing? How many minutes of happy of feeling good about themselves do you think the X-Men were allowed here?
So we have 30 seconds that when Emma had her outburst. So I would say maybe like a good 7 minutes. They probably, well, no, the media has to arrive. They have to sit down. Jean has to make her entrance. So maybe like a good hour, maybe a good hour.
Yeah, but like after the speech,
After the speech.
after Jean gives
Nothing,
her really great, they got like
nothing.
maybe 3 minutes. They made it to the garden
That's it.
from the room.
Yeah, from wherever they had the media conference on campus to the garden, that's all they had. They had 3 5 minutes at best, and that's it. It's sad.
That's all they're allowed.
It's a life of a mutant, but this is going to set up the big battle for the next couple issues. So excited. I was gonna tell you this before we hit record. I wanted to be a bit more critical than I actually am on this issue. There's not much to be critical of in terms of the writing. It is near perfect. It is perfect.
I One thing we haven't addressed is the cover, which why
Oh,
what is
yes.
this weird See that this is why this issue falls off my radar is because the cover is so out of sync with everything else in this series. It is like a shirtless Hugh Jackman Wolverine with his claws out. It has nothing to do with the inside of the book. It's not drawn by any of our regular artists. It is stylistically completely out of place.
I don't
I
know. You're absolutely. You know, it's so funny. I did actually note that as well because you look at all the other covers in the new X-Men run, and they're all gorgeous and relevant to new X-Men, except for this one, which is just Wolverine with his paws popped and he's shirtless and he's growling at the reader. I'm trying to see if there was there a variant cover for this. I don't see any variant covers
I
for
don't think they
one,
were
two,
doing
three.
variant covers at this point.
None whatsoever. There's no other alternate cover, no
Yeah,
unused. I'm trying to see if there's also an unused nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is earnestly the cover. I guess they just tight editorial deadline. Well, listen, they probably had a tight editorial deadline. They did not. Obviously, they had to have another artist come in, and so maybe just to make it to the printer on time, they found a cover they just had laying around the office.
yeah. I mean, I believe that because not only did the artists change near the end of the issue, there's four inkers credited here. So clearly there was some sort of crunch with this. But you know what? The hi-fi design colors,
Oh, flawless
they're
as
looking
always.
great.
I'm trying to see here if so I wasn't aware of shipping schedules. I know Morrison because I love Joe the Barbarian. Morrison had some lag time between issues with that series, and I don't know if that falls on Sean Murphy, who was the artist, but even Astonishing X-Men, for example. I mean, remember the publishing schedule for Astonishing X-Men?
It was
It
horrible.
was like 8 months between two issues. So I don't know if Morrison suffered through the same delays. I have absolutely no idea, but
I don't
it's
think so.
yeah,
And I
I
think that that's part of why Morrison left is because of the editorial wrangling. I think I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
well, we're just gonna have to have Morse's publicists answer our emails already.
We implore you,
We implore you. We
please.
are here. I'm trying to look and see if they logged the dates for Astonishing on the on Unlimited. Yeah, on they don't really. Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
you
they
know
do.
what? They it has the published dates here.
Yeah.
This issue came out 2 weeks after the one before it.
Yeah, it looks like
It's
it was on time. Yeah.
well, it obviously had to be rushed if it was. Why did it come out only 2 weeks later? That's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe it's had something to do with reporting the numbers and billing because it looks like with Astonishing, I remember these times the in between issues with Astonishing being longer, but Astonishing it does seem to list like pub dates
Okay,
with
assuming that these dates are correct on Marvel Unlimited, issue 131 was released on September 3rd, and issue 132 was released 7 days later on September 10th. So they
yeah, this
were no wonder
yeah.
Morrison was like, I can't
Morrison's
handle
like
this.
peace. Peace.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Familia, anything else you want to say about the issue?
No,
No.
no. I please read this issue. I don't know why you're listening to us talk about an issue. If you're not reading it, this is when you need to read.
Stop listening to this podcast. Go read the issue. It is so good. I don't know if I have anything coming up. We just had Lenore here for a Miami reading, and she's going to be in Pittsburgh when I'm in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to try to pop into the Pittsburgh Comic Con there. And Scott Lobdell is going to be at Erie Comic Con mid-September, and I'm going to try to go there. And I'll have stickers for new X-Men, or our new Power of X-Men vibe here. And I think we're pitching a panel with Scott at Erie Con, but you know, as things tend to unfold. That's all I really have going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot going on. Always working hard at Heritage. We have a another signature auction coming up in September. I just described some amazing Bachallo trading card art for Generation X. Beautiful pennants, beautiful husk. I mean, just really amazing stuff. That's all I can think of off the top of my head because it's so
Oh,
fresh.
oh, but you were holding a panel like a page for, I believe, next issue. And when you sent it to me, I was going to reply with, "Is that unused art from New X-Men?" Because I can now remember. I'm curious. I haven't peeked ahead, but I don't remember that page.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I
okay.
do. That is one of the more notorious artists that people are one of the more divisive artists returns. Is it the next issue that they return?
Maybe next issue or the issue after that. I didn't
No, it
remember,
is.
so
It
it's
is.
like it is.
It is the
Okay.
next issue.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not unpublished.
I was like, is that unpublished? All right. Well, anyways, Familia, you can hit me up at Power of X-Men on Instagram.
You can find me at Flinkman on Instagram.
And that's it. Go read New X-Men.
Read New X-Men and enjoy.